All right. Hello, everyone. It is August 6th, 2021. It is hella hot, and it is API night number 22. Welcome, all viewers on YouTube. We're really excited to be joined by you this evening, and we have Kenta from Stripe joining us as well. For those of you who are not familiar with our program, this is week 7 of the Immersive, and it is Industry Partners Week. This is a week in the Immersive where industry partners from our community graciously donate their time, mentorship, and support to our students to help them on their journey as engineers. So yes, to kick things off, we will have Kenta from Stripe share a few words. And after that, we'll get into the student presentations. All right, then Kenta, are you ready?
Ready?
All right, then yes, please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Tsubasa, for the introduction. I want to preface this by saying it's been a true pleasure and an honor to work with the staff and the students at Code Chrysalis. We've got a lot of great feedback and questions from the developer experience of using Stripe, and it's been a very valuable experience overall. And we can't thank everyone enough for this opportunity. I want to just talk a little bit about Stripe and who we are, and then I'll make sure to step right out so we can start with the presentations and enjoy what all the students have prepared for tonight. So let me go ahead and share. So a little bit of an introduction about myself. I am Kenta. I am a software engineer at Stripe, and I work on the Japan team here in Tokyo. I actually joined Stripe back in January of this year, so still pretty new. And I've been working as a software engineer all of my life. Previously worked at Amazon and LinkedIn. So Stripe's mission is to increase the GDP of the internet. So that's a very big and bold statement, but it's something that we truly believe in, and we want to enable that by working with our users, who we consider our partners, to grow the internet economy together by enabling and growing their business online. But it also had some very humble beginnings. So back in 2007, this is when Twitter is just starting to launch, and smartphones are still these things with these physical keyboards on them. Apple hadn't really launched their iPhone yet. And the co-founders of Stripe, Patrick and John, were also working on their own SaaS company called Automatic. It was essentially a tool for eBay sellers to manage their inventory online, and business was doing pretty well. And there's getting users on board and everything. But they had one problem, which was that accepting payments online was just not a very great experience. It had a lot of friction, a lot of complicated processes. You had to fill out these long forms. So in an effort, and also you had the option of PayPal, but you had to work through over 400 pages of documentation even to get started, which kind of showed how complicated payments acceptance online was back then. So in an effort to improve things, the brother decided to work on their small project, which was this initial commit back in 2009. And fast forward to today, Stripe powers many of the online businesses for companies across the world. And here in Japan too, we have a lot of users who depend on Stripe for their day-to-day business online, ranging from any enterprise companies to tech-driven startups and SaaS companies. So what is Stripe? At the heart of Stripe is basically what we call the integrated payments platform. That's a very big word, but you can think of it like a highway network for doing any online transactions. And on top of that network, Stripe provides these products called products which enable certain online business use cases, ranging from Connect, which allows users to launch a platform or a marketplace online, matching buyers to seller and that sort. We also offer Radar, which is a way to prevent fraud by using machine learning. And we also offer Billing, which is a way for you to enable recurring payment businesses or subscription services, both for the enterprise and for consumer facing. So we have these many kind of pluggable pieces which enable certain business use cases. And it all ties back to enabling the online businesses to grow the internet economy and increase the GDP of the internet. And I'm gonna just finish with that and also mention that Stripe is hiring, and we're looking for we're looking for bright people just like the students at Code Chrysalis, and we're actually hiring not just in the engineering roles, but we're hiring across different job functions from business to marketing to sales and operations. So if you are curious, please do reach out, or if you know someone who is interested, please do let us know. If you just want to say that, please come say hi if you're interested. And that's on behalf of Stripe. I want to say again, thank you, Code Chrysalis, to all the staff and all the students for this opportunity. I want to finish it with that note and hand it back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kenta. Yes, looking at that first commit really gives me the motivation and also the perspective that, yeah, starting with such a small commit, it could turn into something so big that, you can become part of the infrastructure of the internet. All right. Yes, we'd now like to start turning it over to our students, but in just a moment. Before that, I want to share a little bit more about what this Industry Partners Week is. So at the beginning of this week, we call it week 7 out of 12 in the immersive. The beginning of this week is a jam-packed day during which students have to do this thing called a halfway review. They have to review everything they learned from the beginning of this course and build a full stack app from scratch in one day, including a modern front end. And then right from Tuesday, the second day, we ask them in their second ever team project to build a full stack app from scratch with an additional requirement that they have to use our industry's partners technology. In this case, the Stripe API. You'll be seeing those apps tonight, and the students have been preparing these apps for 4 days, and so it's really incredible stuff. These students all just started this course 6 weeks ago, and they've gone from struggling from some basics like iterating through loops to being able to build full stack applications and integrating an external API. All right, so I would now like to pass it over to Team Givesy. Team Givesy has developed a donation app. They like to describe themselves as the Patreon for charities. The team has built a MVP, an application to demonstrate a user experience that is not currently available in the space of charities. It's next level, really smooth UX. Yes, Team Givesy, are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, then yes, please take it away.
All right, hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about Givesy. But first, I'd like to introduce our team. So Mikio developed our awesome front end and deployed to Heroku. Felipe connected our front end and back end together and utilized the Stripe API. And as for myself, I helped with the Vue router and with the Firebase authentication. So what is Givesy? It's essentially the Patreon for charities. Givesy is a platform for people to make donations to their favorite NGOs. So let's take a look at a target user. Meet Chris. She's a 35-year-old dentist with various interests, and she wants to make a difference in the world. And recently, she wants to see how her donations make an impact. Some of her goals include wanting to contribute to more charities, but is limited with time. Some of her frustrations include forgetting to donate time or money to charities and not being able to keep track of all of her donations in one place. Lastly, philanthropy and convenience are important motivations for her. So now I'll hand it over to Mikio for the demo.
Thank you, Michelle. So I'll quickly walk through a demo of what we've built. So here's Givesy. Here's our beautiful landing page. So we have the top splash here with a very bold statement, help change the world. You're going to be able to donate to hundreds of causes by getting started here through this button. But first, let's explore the rest of this page. So we have here a quick description of what's Givesy. And on Givesy, you're able to donate to some of the well-respected charities in the world with the ease and simplicity you've come to expect with the modern web. So we've utilized modern design to make sure it's very easy for users to donate and contribute to their causes that they'd like to be a part of. So here we have a quick UI example of what a card would look like. And here we're building out a footer to allow the user for quick navigation. So let's go to the product page to see how it looks. So we're going to explore a few products here. So as you can see, there's a bunch of cards with two options. One is to donate a simple $50, and the other is a subscription of $25 per month, essentially donating $25 per month. So I'm not currently a user of Givesy, and I haven't created an account, but I'd like to donate. So let's go ahead and donate to Slick Shivani's foundation, and I'll donate $50. And this easily jumps to the Stripe API, which easily lays that out for us to pay $50. So I have my information pre-populated. Let's go ahead and pay. And we're complete. And it takes me right back to the product page. So next, I'd like to subscribe and donate $25 per month to the Peace Corps. So I found the product that I like. I'm going to hit subscription, but I'm not a user yet, so I'd have to create an account. So I'm going to create an account here. So I quickly created an account, and I'm going back to the product page, and I'm going to go to the Peace Corps and subscribe for $25 a month. Again, it jumps to the Stripe API, very simple, and I hit subscribe. After a few seconds, it's going to redirect me back to the site. And now I'm going to verify that it went through. So I'm going to click on my dashboard. And now I have it here in my history. So I have the amount $25, the Peace Corps, and I'm paying on a monthly interval. Now, later in the future, I decide to cancel my subscription. So I'll quickly go here, click the button, and now it's canceled. So that's a quick demo of our website. I'm going to go ahead and log out. And this login and logout is all thanks to the Firebase auth that we use. After a quick demo, I'm going to talk about the tech stack and some of the technologies we use to build our MVP. So for the front end, we used Vue. A lot of the team members are familiar with Vue, and its simplicity was quite useful in this project as we had to dedicate a lot of our time to learn the external APIs to connect. So we use Vue and also Vuex. Vuex allows for easy state management, and it was very easy to integrate. So for external APIs, we use Stripe for our payment systems, which did a lot of the heavy lifting for us, which is quite convenient. And Firebase, again, is for the authentication and the user database. For our backend and middleware, we use Node and Express, which is very typical in these applications. And lastly, for the backend database, we use Postgres, and we deployed everything onto Heroku. Now I'm going to pass it over to Felipe, who's going to talk about what we've learned, some of the challenges we faced, and some future improvements we'd like to make to Givesy.
Thank you, Mikio. Now, I want to mention some of the challenges that we faced during this project. At first, we tried using a library called Vue Stripe, which provides components that you can use inside your Vue client to deal with Stripe's API. But we realized that Vue Stripe is very much still a work in progress. So there's not much available in terms of documentation. So in the end, we decided not to use it, and instead we stick with the Stripe package that's available on NPM. Another challenge that we faced was integration, connecting our tech stack into a single working app. Of course, as you introduce more and more packages and libraries, it becomes increasingly challenging to keep it all connected. So that was a big challenge for us. And we also faced a couple issues trying to use UI frameworks with Vue. It seems there are many frameworks that are compatible with Vue 2, But when it comes to Vue 3, which is the version that we're using, the options are very limited yet. So in the end, we decided to stick with custom CSS style sheets for the moment. To mention some of the learnings that we did during this project, we learned that coordination is really important, especially considering the short amount of time we had to build this project. So breaking features into actionable items to delegate was a key factor to build this MVP. We also learned that we should focus on using mature tools and libraries for the most part, because it's generally easier to find documentation on them. So you end up saving a lot of time and avoiding headaches down the road. And learning to use the Stripe API was a pleasant experience. We learned to dive into the documentation, find the endpoints that fit our use case, and then just let the API do the heavy lifting. Now, here are some of the future features that we're planning for the app. First, responsive UI. We want to make sure that the users with different devices can enjoy a consistent experience across these devices. We also want to make improvements to the user dashboard. We want to show more data about their donations, like transaction history, or more options for customization. And we also want to make donations more flexible. We want to let users customize the amounts that they want to donate. And we also want to provide a variety of subscription plans that they can use. And this concludes our presentation on Givesy. I hope you like our project, and feel free to take a look at it at givesy.herokuapp.com. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Team Givesy. I really appreciate that you guys, took the time and energy to build something with a social cause. What with such a polished UI in such short time. Really impressed. Okay. Then next up, I would like to introduce Team Annai. Yes, please get ready to present in a second. Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about their tour guide app that they've built. Essentially, with Annai, you can explore Japan smarter and connect to a growing community of passionate guides who are local to any area that you want to visit. Personally, my partner works in the tourism industry in rural Japan, so very excited and curious to know about this app. Yeah, Team Annai, are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right. Yes, then the stage is yours.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We are Team Annai, and we'd like to speak briefly about our new project and some of its current and upcoming features that we're working on at the moment. So to introduce our team, my name is Michael Dale. I worked on the full stack.
I worked on the full stack, and I was also tech lead for this project.
Hey, Alexander is here. I work as a full stack for this project.
Okay, and we are Team Annai. Today's presentation will include our thinking and motivation, a little bit philosophy behind Annai, a brief scenario demonstrating its usage, and a breakdown of the tech stack that we used. We're also going to dive into the challenges we faced along the way and features in the works. So with Annai, we believe a lot of visitors to Japan really, maybe they don't have a taste for group tours. I know I'm in that group, but a lot of people who are here, especially for the first time, do want just a little bit of guidance during their time here. They also have at least some sense of adventure and perhaps want to discover something about Japan that maybe didn't make it into the guidebooks. But there are challenges. Japan overall is a very easy and pleasant place to visit. But, well, for example, only 2 to 8% of the Japanese population speaks English to a degree well enough to make themselves understood through communication. And also, navigation can actually be a challenge. Tokyo's transportation system is top-notch. It's amazing, but it's also incredibly complex and can be overwhelming at times. Locals even get lost. So, on top of that, visitors are often surprised to find that when they leave the city, can't actually do a lot without a car. I mean, some of the major cities, they still have the train stations and stuff, but if you really want to dive into the countryside, you need transportation. So Annai is a simple app that connects visitors to locals willing to provide unique tours, experiences, both of the usual sort and perhaps off the path. Guides can build their own menu of adventures or simply just act as an assistant to the visitor if they need that. So I'm going to leave it to Rituraj here to dive into some of the benefits of our app.
Thank you, Michael. I'll be talking about some of the benefits of our app, Annai. So the first benefit is the fact that our app, Annai, is a centralized platform for tourists to access all Japanese cities. What we've noticed with a lot of other tourism apps out there is that a lot of them focus on one city or one specific part of Japan without really giving a whole overview. And our app allows users to access, whether it be Kyoto, Tokyo, Osaka, all these cities from one single app. Next, our app ensures safe payment because we use the Stripe API. The user doesn't have to worry about whether the transaction is risky or whether it went through properly. The Stripe API ensures a safe and secure transaction. And finally, our app is quite easy to use because the UI is quite simple to interact with and it's suitable for any type of user who would like to use our app. Next, we would like to talk about some of the advantages we found of using Stripe's API in our project and our journey with Stripe's API. First and foremost, the Stripe API has some of the best documentation we've ever seen as developers. And in our app, a lot of the meat of our app, where we actually pay the tour guide, is done through Stripe's API. Next, currency conversion. As a tourist coming from a different place, I don't have to worry about the currency of my country being converted to yen, and for the tour guide, vice versa. All that is handled by Stripe's API. And finally, as we all know, Stripe is an extremely reliable platform, and it's used by many major brands worldwide, and it definitely shows. So, Michael, why don't you walk us through somebody who would use our app, a persona, for example?
Love to. Let's meet Jeff, everybody. Today, we have this gentleman from Vancouver. It's his first trip to Japan, and he's excited to see both Tokyo and later go west to the Kansai area, maybe hit up Osaka or Kyoto. However, he speaks no Japanese. So he's limited to all the information that's available in English. He's quite busy at times. Perhaps he didn't have a lot of time to plan before he arrives or study Japanese on the plane ride over. And then we have Mariko, who went to college abroad and speaks English very well. She knows Tokyo and loves showing visitors around. She works full-time at an office, but maybe perhaps wants to make a little extra money on the weekends. So with Annai, Jeff can go in and choose from a list of guides filtered by search criteria. And then with this, he finds Mariko's profile that meets his needs. Her tour services are not too expensive, and she speaks English quite well. And she also has a list of restaurants that she curates that over time she's found and visitors really appreciate. So Jeff books her services and they agree to meet the next day. She takes them to places such as Todoroki Valley and maybe the temples nearby that area. And then afterwards to Kyomachi Koshigure in Shinjuku, a popular but well-loved spot. And we're going to pass it back to Rituraj, who's going to go briefly into a product demo.
Thank you, Michael. Here we have our UI of the app. And first and foremost, you see our nice landing screen. You see the nice Fuji background at the back, and you see our Annai Japan logo here. So the first thing you see when you go into this app is a login through our user authentication, because in order to book a tour guide, you would need to log in. I have already created an account in advance, but if you hadn't done that, you could do it by clicking here. So now I can log in and voila, we've reached our landing page. What we have here is essentially a catalog of all the tour guides who are using our services to offer guides across any city. For example, this tour guide here, she speaks Chinese. She charges an hourly rate of 10,000 yen, and the area she specializes in is Osaka. So essentially, to book a tour guide, you can go straight ahead and click book, for example, and click pay now, which will redirect you to Stripe's API. But say you have some criteria, some restrictions that you would like to take into account. Say I'm a tourist who wants a guide that can speak English. I want to explore the Tokyo area a little bit, but I'm not willing to pay more than 5,000 yen. This is my budget. So I enter my criteria and I click search. And this essentially filters out all the cards and gives you the tour guides who match the criteria you've given. So now we have these 2 tour guides, and I will choose one of them. Give me a second, and now I will click Pay Now. This will redirect me to Stripe's API, and I will quickly make some data. And I will click Pay 3,000 yen. And as this is processing, it gives me the green check mark that it succeeded, and it gets you back to a nice landing page of success. You have successfully booked a guide, and you can click this button to go back to our landing page. So that was a demo. I hope you liked it. I would now like to go into the tech stack, talking about some of the technologies we used in this project. So first and foremost, we used Vue and Vue Stripe, to be more specific, to deal with most of the front ends and making calls to the Stripe API. Next, for the backend database, we used Postgres. For our server, to make calls to different endpoints, we used Express with a combination of Node. And finally, as you saw with the authentication, we used Firebase Auth. Now I'll pass it on to Alisher, who will talk about the challenges, some of the future features, and what we learned.
Thank you, Rituaj. Hi, everyone again. So I will be speaking about the challenges that we faced during this project. So the first challenge was related to the Vuex state manager. So one of the challenges we faced during the development, so Vuex state management, when we were making the calls from the Stripe API, we were referring to the data that was stored in the Vuex state. And initially we thought that this miscommunication was related to the Stripe API, and the Stripe team was very kind and assisted us to solve this issue. We are very grateful to them. And another challenge was related to the deployment stage. So when we were deploying to the Heroku, we had some problems with the connecting local database to Heroku database. And another challenge and learning was during the mob programming time. So for those who doesn't know mob programming is basically when the team shares the same computer and works on the same computer together. And during that time, we used VS Code /share functionality, and the functionality has some bugs, and luckily that was solved during the next days. So the next challenge we faced was related to the initial setup. So we learned that during the initial setup, we need to be really careful with how we are setting our files. So we set up our back end and front end differently and use different package managers. And then that caused a lot of problems during the deployment stage. So now I will briefly talk about the lessons learned. The lessons learned basically relate to the challenges that we faced. So the first lesson, deploy early, make the smallest app possible and deploy, make incremental changes. So whenever we have small app, we need to immediately deploy to the Heroku. And actually, if we follow with the continuous development process, we would save a lot of time for us. So another lesson is keeping environment simple. Instead of using different package managers, Yarn for the front end and the NPM for the back end, we should use the single package manager for the both front and back end. Another lesson is related to the spending more time planning. This initially, it seems like a lot of waste of time, but during the process of development the app, we initially finally realized that the spending more time planning is actually saving the time. So another lesson is seeking help early. Like I mentioned in the first stage, like we faced the Vuex problem. We reached out to the Stripe team, and then they were really helpful to solve our problem. And if we did this earlier, we would save a lot of time for us. And now I will be talking about the future features that we are planning to implement. Due to the time constraint, we were not able to implement a lot of features that we were planning. So four guys might want to organize group tours that we want to provide them this feature. Another feature is related to the tour planning. let's assume that visitors want to have customizable and predefined plans. So we also want to offer this functionality to them. Another feature is related to the map integration. So when user starts planning, providing them map with already marketplaces that are very popular among tourists might help in the initial phase of the planning. So next feature is related to the living reviews and giving feedbacks to the guides. So this will help future visitors to make the correct decisions. And another feature we'd like to implement is related to the travel information. We want to provide more travel information on our app, information about the cities, hotels, and kid-friendly places. And the last feature I want to talk about is implementing advanced search functionality. Currently, we are able to search tour guides by language, location, and price, but we'd also want to implement more advanced search functionality, like offering them to search by the date of availability and more. And this concludes our presentation. Thank you for watching, and take care.
All right. Everybody, please give a round of applause for Team Annai. Thank you, Team Annai. I actually knew about Todoroki Valley, but I certainly did not know Kyomachi Koishigure, which actually, I think it was Michael saying it's a common spot. But as a Tokyoite, I am ashamed, and it seems like I do need to use this application to get to know my city better. All right. Yes. Thank you again to all the students for their amazing presentations. And thank you guys for watching. I hope all of you watching will join us in congratulating the students and hopefully leaving us some comments on our YouTube live stream. We always love seeing those. Thank you again, Kenta, for donating so much time to our students this week. We really appreciate you and your dedication and your earnest feedback and quick responses to our students. I just want to announce a couple of important things that are coming up for this cohort for those of you guys tuning in. First, since week 2, these students have been preparing 25-minute tech talks on a topic of their choice. And these talks will be uploaded on our YouTube channel in a few weeks and presented. And these topics will include exciting topics such as IPFS, which is a new blockchain technology, as well as, I believe, machine learning, blockchain, etc. I think there was also one topic about Swift UI. These are all topics, if you are interested, you could check out on our YouTube channel. So please keep your eyes peeled. One more thing, in about a month, again, these 6 students will be fully fledged engineers, and they will be presenting to you again once more on their demo day on September 10th. And these will be applications they'll be working on for 3 months. Imagine if they can go so far in 4 days, what they can do in 3 weeks. So please mark your calendars. It's September 10th in the evening. And that is it. So good night, everyone. Thank you for your continued support. Take care and see you at the next event. Have a good one.